is the relay here, but they've also got an LED on the solid state one. And the reason we got an LED on the solid state one is because it doesn't make any noise. So if you're ever doing any troubleshooting on your amplifier system, or you're wondering why something's not keying, at least you can see if the actual RBI1 or RBI1 SS, the solid state, is actually being keyed, because the solid state relays don't make any noise.
And you're saying that you would want the solid state one if the ticking sound that you hear from the relay switching is giving you grief. Other than that, you're probably better off with the
Yeah, with the conventional relay one. Not only that, the MTBF, mean time between failures of this relay, is over 1 million cycles. So you're going to be, you'll be long dead, and your children will be still using this RBI1 before it dies.
or your wife's second husband.
It might be. That's exactly right. Yeah, make sure you're also going to get your robe and slippers, so don't worry about that. So there's the solid state one. Oh, that's another good question, Don. Just that you happen to mention it, we actually make bypass switches. So I should have brought one with me here, but it basically comes in a box similar to this, a little bit smaller, as a matter of fact, a box about that size. Got to have mounting tabs on each end, and what you do is you could mount that underneath your shelf of your desk, and then this button here will actually be coming out the side, for example. And when you want to engage your amplifier, you go ahead and do that. Now you're in the operate mode for the amplifier, and then when you key the amplifier will go into the transmit mode, and everything will work fine. When you don't want to operate the amplifier, just release that switch, and now the keying circuit won't be passed through the box to your amplifier's relay. Sometimes, even if you've got a bypass switch on your amplifier, sometimes it's farther down where your desk is, and it's just not convenient for you to reach over for it. I've actually got one of these things right underneath my shelf of my second shelf, I guess, of my operating station, and I did something even a little more complicated than that. I have two amplifiers. I have the Lazy Man's amplifier, and a Meritron ALS 600 that's good for 500 or 600 watts out. And then I've got a big steamer for a little more power out than that. So what I use is two coaxial relays, and I made a custom box for myself that basically has one of these is the bypass switch that doesn't allow either amplifier to be keyed, and the other switch selects which amplifier does get the keying. In other words, it switches both the input and our output RF. You can do that with a coax switch too if you wanted to, but then you got to switch the input and you got to switch the output of your amplifier if you have two different amplifiers. You could also go ahead and use the RBI1 too as the keying part, because if you keyed two amplifiers at the same time but only sent RF to one, it makes no difference because you're not going to hurt anything. Take, for example, the ICOM IC 9700. It's only got one keying line for all the bands that are inside an ICOM 9700. So, believe it or not, we actually make as you might imagine, a breakout box for that, so it allows you to go ahead and use all three of the bands on that and have separate outputs.